Welcome to Conversations with Masesi, where my guest and I talk about life, love, family, and everything in between. When we plant seeds of understanding and nurture them with compassion, true education grows. Today I'm joined by the founder of Roadways. Let's find out what Sheila has to say about what is Roadways, how did it come about, and why do they exist. Sheila, welcome.
Thank you very much. Happy
segment.
to be here.
Thank you so much. So we know about the different education systems that exist.
Yes.
Talk to us about the Roadways education system and why did you choose that kind of system?
Okay, so Roadways is specifically for kids who struggle to read. And most of our students, like I would say 90% of them, come with a diagnosis of dyslexia.
Okay.
And so it's language-based learning disability. And in the mainstream schools, they are unable to learn. They struggle in that system because there isn't enough intensity, not enough repetition, not enough practice to learn to mastery. And so Roadways is set up so we have very small groups, which increases the intensity of the instruction. And so we have one teacher for every 4 kids, and sometimes it's less than that.
Yeah.
And we teach in a real direct, explicit method. So we demonstrate and we show the kids until we're sure that they have success. And I think I would call it almost errorless learning. So the teacher is right there to correct every mistake that is made and teach them in the correct way.
Wow.
So I think that's one of the big differences.
Yes. And how does one get to be enrolled in Roadways then?
Well, you know, we've not advertised. So
and I can vouch for that because I'm looking for Roadways. Where's Roadways?
Yeah, so it's all through word of mouth.
Yeah.
And also from me having worked in the Saskatoon public school system.
Okay.
I have colleagues that will recommend kids to our school.
Okay.
So that's how people would find out about us.
And
Yes.
they have to have the diagnosis?
They do not have to have the diagnosis, but you know, it's interesting. Something that probably the general public doesn't understand. Dyslexia is very common. So it's been proven that 20% of our population will have some degree of dyslexia.
Wow.
So there's lots of kids who struggle because of that.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's not like you don't study enough. You're not paying attention.
That's right.
You just have to dig deep and find out what makes.
Yes.
How do you learn different from others?
That's right.
Oh my goodness. So when was Roadways established?
Well, our school became an independent school in 2021.
Okay.
Yes. So before that, we operated out of my basement.
Yes.
And then as kind of a homeschool is what we were.
Oh, yes.
Like the parents who brought their kids, they were considered to be homeschooled.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes.
Because I think when you have a child who has some inability, as a parent, you need to find out how you can help them.
Yes. Oh, you always want to fix that problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
And sometimes we don't need to fix it.
That's
Just find
right.
out, how am I parenting this child that's given to me, not the child that I'm thinking I need to have.
Absolutely.
And with schools like that, you actually are helping parents to say, there's nothing wrong with this child.
Yes.
There is a way that they learn different.
Yes.
And that's why Roadways came into being.
Absolutely.
So with the ratio of 1 to 4, what qualifications do you normally need for teachers to be able to handle that?
Well, our teachers have a degree, so an education degree, but then we give them training in how to teach kids with learning disabilities.
That's true.
Yes.
Because I can imagine a degree by itself won't do me much. I need to know how to handle a child that's different. You know, a lot of people will talk about Montessori, they will talk about this kind of schooling that, or unschooling or personalized.
Yeah.
So what do you guys enroll as a kind of teaching, a personalized kind of teaching, or it's an overall umbrella that you have that everybody applies to all the children?
Well, it's very personalized because the kids, they all come with their own unique little
That's true.
people and how they learn.
Yes.
So it is very personalized, but we have kind of an umbrella idea too. So we always teach to mastery and automaticity. So the kids, what they learn, it sticks with them.
That's true.
Yes.
But Sheila, did you see yourself doing this like when you were young and you were playing around and going through rhymes and everything?
Well, you know what? I played school at home. So, you know, I think it was kind of in my blood, but I never ever saw myself starting my own school. Wow. It just developed. It developed out of a need, for sure.
Out of a need and the passion to fulfill your mission, of course.
Absolutely.
It's funny when you say I played school. I'm a pastor's child, and all I did was I always used to play pastor. And today when I do things like that, minister the word of God, I'm like, man, be careful what you play. Because when you grow up, that's who you become.
That's what you will be. Yeah.
So when these kids are playing anything at your school, you know exactly what they are marked for. You're like, I know where you're going. Can you share a story of a student who has made you feel so grateful you started this?
Oh, you know, that first little boy, he was such a smart little guy. And he graduated from grade 12 last year, actually. And through his schooling in grade 11, he was chosen to attend media school in the city. So yeah, just such a really smart young guy. And now he's part owner in a cattle company. So he's been a real success. And our kids are just starting to graduate now. But so far from our Roadways group of kids, 3 of them have come back to me to tell me they're on the honor roll in their school. So, you know, that gives me a really good feeling.
It gives you a reason to exist.
Yes. Yeah.
I've fulfilled what I've been. That is so heartwarming.
It is heartwarming considering they come to me, those little kids who are not reading. And some of them will come in grade 5 or grade 6, and they're still just very beginning readers. So to make the progress and to be considered to be on their honor roll is very heartwarming.
You started a good work. And with every good work, we know there's growth.
Yes.
What's the future for Roadways?
Well, you know what? I don't even know. I don't even know. Like, I never predicted that it would grow like it has. We're limited by space, I'll tell you that much.
Okay.
Like, it would grow and grow, except we are limited by space. So that kind of keeps the cap on it.
Yes.
But I do
Which is sad.
It is sad.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you could change one thing about the mainstream education, what will that thing be? Because you taught in that system before.
Yeah, I did. You know, I think it would be and it's hard to say. I understand resources are limited in our schools, but it's sad for me to see these little kids being pushed on without having the skills to enter the next grade.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing I would change.
Yeah.
They need more programming, alternate programming for kids with learning disabilities.
It's like not the one-size-fits-all T-shirt.
Not the one-size-fits-all, for sure.
Yeah. And what's your advice to parents? Because it's hard when you're a parent. I mean, we go through denial, anger, and all the emotions, but not deal with the main thing.
Yeah, that's right. I think I'd want to leave parents with the idea that there is hope. These kids can learn to read. If they can talk, they can learn to read. And they may not read at the same speed as other kids or those kinds of things, but they will learn to read. Yeah. Absolutely.
Because I think comparison is the one thing that's killing us as parents.
Yes.
Because we try to compare this child with that other one. Or even compare siblings.
Yes.
We cannot do that.
Yeah.
We need to take each child the way they are and find out
Yes.
how we can help them.
Yes.
You mentioned how some of them are finishing grade 12, they're on a roll and everything else. And do you require them to come back and sow into the system that has helped them? Because I'll tell you why I asked this question. I'm finding that everybody says we're raising selfish children. They never want to do anything for anybody else. But I with the same breath, I say, who is raising them? We are.
Yeah.
So if they benefited from a system, you need to let them know, go back and go
Yes.
plant a seed somewhere else,
Yes.
so that there'll be a tree that somebody will sit under the shade.
Yeah. You know, I'm glad you mentioned that, because one of our graduates, a young girl, and she graduated from grade 12 last year too, but she's come back on several occasions to talk to our students and to talk to our parents
Yes.
about the journey of a dyslexic student.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there is room for those kids to come back and share what they've been through.
And share their testimony of, I'm thriving because
Yes.
somebody cared.
Yes.
So when I always say, you know how when you discipline children, all they see is your discipline, but they don't know the love behind it.
Yes.
But the minute they can feel the love,
Yes.
they come back and say, because of your love, I've
Yes.
accomplished this.
Yes.
And we need to raise our children to know that where you have stopped and had a drink of water, you need to go back there
Yeah.
and make sure that there's still more water for somebody that's coming behind you. That way
Such a
we
nice
get
idea.
Yeah, we get
Yes.
rid of the saying of we're raising selfish generation and all
Yeah.
that. I said, no, we are the ones raising them. Let's teach them how things are done.
Yes.
And I find that's what you're doing with your school. And you know, you're like, yes, the space is too small. It's putting a cap. And I pray that you get a bigger space, because we need more of these children that we don't understand having room and space where they can express themselves
Yes.
and grow to be functional, productive human beings, because that's who they are.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. It's been such a wonderful opportunity to talk to you and meet you as well. And I pray that the seeds sown at Roadways grow into mighty oaks of purpose, resilience, and hope. And that is inspired by me reading Proverbs 22:6. That's a wrap for today. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Follow us on all our social media platforms to keep the conversations going. Thank you for joining us on Conversations. Grace and peace be multiplied unto you and yours. Shalom.